What's going on, FA Nation? Jon Impemba here with James Grande. Welcome into the Fantasy Alarm NBA DFS podcast and live stream recording here for Monday's 7-game main slate. James, pretty good week here if you look at the NBA schedule. Not many monster slates. We don't really have too many short slates either. We always talk about that 6 to 8 game slate kind of being that quote-unquote wheelhouse. We're starting off the week here with a couple of these, kicking off with this 7-gamer here on Monday.
Yeah, this is a good-looking slate. Could be even better if some of this injury news breaks the right way. Luka Doncic questionable, John Morant questionable, Donovan Mitchell questionable. So some big-time names currently out or could potentially be out. Some big-time Vegas totals. Only one currently under 220. Minnesota Portland tops the slate at 230. We just saw that game. It popped off. 228 in Oklahoma City, Dallas. Interesting that there's 228 projected points with Luka questionable. It makes you think that Luka's going to play.
Yeah,
and
I got him actually. It's updated as of last evening.
He's probable.
He's probable
okay.
now, yeah. So.
Okay, cool. Yeah, they're 8.5 point favorites. I was a little worried that they knew something we didn't. And then Indiana, Miami, 228 total. So a lot of fun game environments. Nothing, 8.5 in the Atlanta-Memphis game as well. 8.5. Memphis is favored by 8.5. Got to think John Morant plays if that's the case. I know DeJounte's out, but without Ja, are they 8.5 point favorites over Atlanta? I don't know.
Probably not.
And then Dallas 8.5. So those are the biggest spreads. Solid totals across the board. So we talk about wheelhouse slate. This feels like one. This should be a fun one.
Yep, I'm in agreement with you there. We'll kick it off here. Top price guys. Luka's your only one over 12K today. He was 12.7. Tatum's at 11.1. Durant's at 11K. Ja 10.6. Trey 10.4. Dame 10.2. SGA at 10.1. Your 10K and above range of guys there. A handful of point guards, actually. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of the top 7 price players on this slate are all at the point guard position. So let's just start there. 10K and above group. Which ones do you like? Which ones do you not like?
Love Luka in tournaments. This is a smash spot against OKC. I know SGA has been good defensively, Giddy too. But Luka is just...
He went for 71 fantasy points against them earlier this year.
Yeah, shooting 35% from the floor.
And he's home, where we love Luka.
Yeah. Gotta love Luka. I think Ja's in a really good spot against Atlanta. Down DeJounte Murray. We don't know what Bogdan's status is going to be on a back-to-back after playing a boatload of minutes last night against the Bulls and that overtime win. So Ja in a great spot. I don't think a lot of people get to him. He was good against Detroit, but another poor shooting performance, could have been 65 fantasy points if he just makes some shots.
0 for 7 from 3. So.
Yeah, brutal. Trey, look, huge usage rate without DeJounte Murray. If there's no Bogdan, I will be playing Trae Young in tournaments. They're going to be just reliant upon him with no Collins, Murray, or Bogdan there. So Trae is contingent on Bogdan for me and probably good in tournaments anyway. I told you before we hopped on air, I've played Dame the last couple slates. Good matchups for him. Same matchup we just saw. That game had 242 points scored in it. Minnesota doesn't play a lot of defense. Dame has 40 and 36 actual points in back-to-back games. And with the emergence of Anthony Simons and Jeremy Grant scoring, Lillard has been really, really good in the passing game too. 20 assists his last 2 games. I'm going to keep playing Dame Lillard in tournaments.
Yeah.
And SGA, I think, a little regression here. And not to say he's not great still, but we're still paying a premium for a guy now who he's gotten 50 fantasy points once in his last 6 games.
Yeah, you've pointed it out, and it's certainly the truth here. The fact that Giddy is being as active as he is in rebounding and assists, because SGA is still giving you 35, 33, 31, right? But he's not giving you 60 fantasy points in a bit because he's not giving you the other stats. So, if we ever get an under 10K SGA, probably a little bit more appealing. Lillard for sure. I mean, you talked about his scoring right now, and that's going 9 for 22 from the floor, right? He had a 2 for 14 shooting day recently. When he hits, the 9 of 17 threes like he did against Denver, he's got the ceiling. 3 of 11 shooting 3 against Minnesota. Yeah, and that was actually a tough spot because Minnesota is one of the worst teams in the NBA in terms of opponent 3-point percentage, opponents 3-point made per game. Like they're terrible defending the perimeter. So just an off shooting night for
Right.
Lillard, and it was an off shooting night. And he still scored 36 points.
It's
So
crazy.
definitely a high ceiling for him. I think I like him the most. My issue with Trey was what we talked about the other day when you're like, oh, he's got a crazy high usage rate without DeJounte, and he did. He gave you 51 fantasy points. He went 33 in 9, 37 minutes, 12 of 25. Like, he had the big get day against Brooklyn. It's only 51 fantasy points.
Right.
So,
Right.
can he give you 60? We've seen it, but like, how much more does he have to give you in that game? I guess he had no rebounds, which is kind of a rarity for him. So,
Right.
I'm off that a little bit. I think I would rather either go all the way up for Luka, obviously, go Dame, or we go down.
Okay.
Do you play Halliburton against Miami? Generally a tough spot for guards here.
Yeah, I mean, generally it's a tough spot, but like, has it been? Like let's see, they in terms of DVP, yeah, I guess they still rank pretty well. They're 12th in DVP against point guards. I mean, Halliburton's just so good. Like he had 52 fantasy points against them earlier this year, coming off
What
three
version of
straight.
Miami was that? I guess that's the question.
Yeah,
Was that the
it
Miami team that sat their entire roster?
November 4th. So was that in the midst of like all these injuries? Kyle Lowry played in that game. Okay. Let's see, did Butler play in that game? Butler did not play in that game. So to your point, like Hero played in that game. So no Butler in that game. Okay. But it seemed like Bam played, Hero played, Lowry played. Yeah, so just missing
core,
Butler.
Their core was there. That's good.
I'm okay with it. I mean, dude, the guy, like, we're talking about the assist. The steals have been there like consistently almost every night. He hasn't had a steal in all but 4 games this year.
Yeah.
And then the scoring, 23, 26, 35 fantasy point or actual points in 3 straight games. It's great. I wish the rebounds were a little more consistent because then there would be like 65, 70 fantasy point upside.
I agree. No, I definitely like Halliburton. Just a little bit of a tougher spot generally. Garland at 83. We've been waiting for like the breakout Garland game without Donnie Mitchell. It hasn't come yet. He's had good matchups, the Thunder and Sacramento. Another really good matchup here tonight, San Antonio. If Mitchell's out, I'm gonna just keep playing him at 8,300. It's like the Zach LaVine thing. It's like he's too cheap where he is. Eventually, he's gonna pop off, and I'm just gonna run out. I'm a little upset about the 9 shot attempts, though. That's a little, we should double
Annoying.
that like we had been. But I'm still gonna play Garland at 83 if there's no Donovan Mitchell.
I mean, he scored 51 actual earlier in the year without Donnie Mitchell. So like, we know it's in his bag. We saw how good he was last year without Donovan Mitchell because Donovan Mitchell wasn't on this team. So yeah, I'm gonna go right back to the well as well. And I think based on his last 2 performances, if there's no Mitchell, like this ownership could be seriously depressed.
Yep, I'm with you there. I didn't gloss over Kyrie Irving on purpose. I was just going to circle back to him. Ceiling performances out of Kyrie the last 2 games, competitive games. But is Washington, can they keep it competitive with Brooklyn without Bradley Beal? That's obviously, I think, a question that has to be answered. But 60 and 52 fantasy points the last 2 games for Kyrie Irving at under 9K is a steal. We talk about it all the time. When it comes to what his ceiling is, and we've been seeing it. So in tournaments, you want to play Kyrie Irving as long as that's fine with me. Just know that I think without Beal, Washington may be a little bit shorthanded there. Keeping that one close. D'Angelo Russell at $7,500. We've talked about this one before. Really starting to play well. Last 4 games, 40, 36, 40, 35 fantasy points. As long as he's under 8K, he's bringing you back value at that price point. We just saw this one against Portland. 9 of 15 shooting, 24 actual in that game for 35 fantasy points.
Yeah, and it's funny because, like, the points have been so good, and that's not surprising with Karl-Anthony Towns. But, like, everything else is down. The assists are down. The rebounds are down. So, like, there's even room for more upside for D'Angelo Russell in this spot. So I'm going right back to the well. 7,500 is a really good spot.
Where are we looking next for you?
Josh Giddey, I would play. I mean, dude, the rebounds have been insane. 4 of the last 5, he's had 10 or more rebounds. He's had 13 rebounds or more twice in his last 5 games, including 4+ assists in his last 5. He's scoring the basketball. So I would consider Josh Giddey. I know it's a really tough spot against Dallas, but he's just been so good peripherally. We don't exactly need a bajillion points from him where, he's a triple-double threat. Probably can't go Dinwiddie at this price with Luka active. Probably can't go Trey Jones at this price against Cleveland. I think Lowry is interesting, 67. Jimmy Butler is questionable, but he's expected to play.
Cash games, I think, for Lowry.
Cash games. I think Smart as well is interesting. He's just consistent, man.
I kind of want to play Brogdon at 49, but
Brogdon 49 is
the
great.
Minutes are definitely there for Smart. He fills the stat sheet up. The steals have been great. I don't hate it. I mean, again, 39, 37, 35, and 3 of the last 4 at 6,100 is definitely value.
Obviously, everything circles around Tyus Jones, though. Like if Ja's out. Like if Ja sits, then we're playing Tyus Jones.
If Monty Morris is out, do you play Goodwin? Do you play Goodwin anyways? 34 and 38 minutes the last 2 games for him.
Yeah, so we don't have anything official on Bradley Beal. A week ago today, they said they were going to reevaluate him. And so that should be happening at some point. So we'll find out more on Bradley Beal probably by the time this episode we're finished. And then we are editing it. And then we find out Beal's playing and this Goodwin section doesn't matter. But if Beal's out, you play Goodwin. And if Monty Morris is out, you're very confident in Goodwin. Because he's going to play 40 minutes.
Yeah, Brogdon's been playing more minutes than White the last couple of games. So, again, just kind of throwing him up over there.
And no Horford. So they could elect to go small here, right? Against the Clippers. I mean, Zubac plays center, but then Marcus Morris isn't a big power forward.
No.
Like they can play Tatum there all game if they wanted to and just play Brown, Smart, and Brogdon together.
We may have a green light here on Jalen Noel. Jordan McLaughlin doubtful to play tonight. Noel is $4,500.
Tournaments only, but yeah, agreed. It's such a good spot. This game is, was it the best total? Yeah, 230. It's the best total on the board.
McLaughlin did only play 4 minutes in that game against Utah. And Noel played 21, and he only played 16 minutes against Portland. Who's getting the run right now for Minnesota there? If not
McDaniels. They played Kyle Anderson a boatload of minutes the last couple games. I'm pretty sure Kyle Anderson's played like 40 minutes in back-to-back games, and they played Austin Rivers.
Just the disrespect for our guy here.
Austin Rivers 21 minutes in 3 straight games.
Dude, he played 21 minutes. He gave you 0, 0, 0, 1 rebound, 2 fouls. Stop playing Austin Rivers. Play Jalen Noel.
He's a great defender, John.
What are we doing?
He's not just kidding.
Just what are we
doing?
Yeah.
I'm with you.
Shooting guard position here. Anthony Edwards is all the way up to $9,400. A little bit too rich, but it is, again. He's capable. Steals are down.
I mean,
steals are down to 3 and 2 after 6, 6 and 5.
I mean, that was always going to be the case, right? Like the regression was coming there for sure. I mean, still 2 and 3 is great. Don't get me wrong.
We got 40.5 minutes from Paul George the other day.
I mean, yeah. Dude, he has like these ceiling games. He has ceiling games like these ceiling games that he has are crazy.
Yeah. When he's healthy, he's a very good basketball player.
Yeah. Yep.
Would you pay 92 against Boston?
Maybe. Tournaments.
Jaylen Brown's up to $9,000. Feels a little steep.
It feels steep. He's just so good right now. I mean, he has 2 60 fantasy point games where we didn't get those earlier in the year. And that was my problem. Like we didn't have the 60s. There weren't even he didn't even sniff it.
Yeah.
And that's why I was always wishy-washy about the mid 8Ks. But now he's doing literally everything.
35-point double-doubles in back-to-back games against Miami and Brooklyn.
Dude, and there's no Horford, right? So if he's going to continue to rebound this way.
It's been great. 9, 7, 8, 10, 14. I
don't know. I'm okay with it. If we're going to get potentially, and I said it to you, now that Jaylen Brown's the Celtics' best player over the last week,
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard to get to a 9K, I think, but I can't fault you for getting there.
Okay.
Same thing for Mitchell. If Mitchell plays 89 against the Spurs, oh my gosh.
Yep. Would you pay the 8K for Hero? That guy's been really well, especially. I mean, Butler says probable, right? But I mean, even with Butler active the last couple of games, 41, 39, 49 fantasy points for Tyler Hero.
It's a great spot. I could be talked into it. It's not like a priority for me, I think, but I could be talked into.
He's a
Hero
really good
8K.
player.
Yeah, he is a good
You
player.
just have to like worry about the occasional like Jimmy Butler decides to score game. You know,
Yeah,
like
that is yeah, that is the only worry.
uh,
Yeah, I could be talked into it. I could be talked into it.
okay. Vassell at 72.
Really tough spot. He came off the bench in that game too, which I think it's because he missed a couple games and Pop is
Sure.
weird, but
Heald is at 62 against Miami here.
tournaments. We know it's a tournament. Yeah, we know tournament play.
Yep. All these indie guys are going to be tournament plays. Matherin and Nembard.
Mm-hmm.
THJ, tough spot for him the other night. Back-to-back tough games, starting to come back down to earth a little bit. Thoughts on the run here?
Yeah, I mean, we knew the Milwaukee game was definitely tough, and then the Chicago game they lost by. They were down 100 at half.
Yeah.
So he just never checked back in after the third quarter. So I'd be okay going back to the well there as long as he's starting. But again, if Mitchell's out, you just play Karis LeVert, who's going to be chalk.
Yeah, exactly. LeVert hasn't. I mean, LeVert's a very good player. It's weird that he comes off the bench, but again, he's on a team where they don't need him as a player.
Right.
So,
right.
But yeah, 38, 35, 5K is too cheap. You mentioned if Bogdan plays again, would you be worried about the back-to-back here?
I don't know.
Remember, so here's the thing. I played him against Brooklyn. We talked about it. They even came out and said like he'll be on a similar minutes cap, and he wasn't. He played 34 minutes.
Yeah.
Played, he was 4,100. He's only 40. He's giving you 10x in 2 straight games.
He's making every shot he takes.
Yeah, but this is the stretches that he can go through. It's Memphis. If he's active, I think people are gonna play him. So
he's been like 70% on the last 2 slates.
Yeah.
He'll be that again, right? I mean, there's no Murray, there's no Collins. Like he'll be 70% on.
I would agree with you 100% there. Any other value shooting guards here for you? Joe Harris still playing 30 minutes.
Yeah, Joe Harris, but you got to think that's going to come down when Simmons' like workload is increased.
Sure.
Because they've been limiting Simmons to 20 minutes, so you could play him. Atlanta started Trent Forrest and played him 34 minutes, and they've now played him 28 and 34 minutes in back-to-back games. So $3,100 for a starter,
sort of player, an active guy, a guy who gets on the floor.
Guy who plays. He got his cardio, getting in his cardio. Throwing that out there.
All right, small forward. Tatum is 11-1. If you want to get
getting
there.
more expensive after back-to-back games.
Not a price I want to pay right now, but he's always capable. Just know he's always capable.
Yep.
Durant, he's from the area, right? He's a Washington guy.
I thought he was going to go to DC when he was a free agent, and then he didn't.
Averaging 57 fantasy points in 2 games against Washington this season. Just popped off for them for 55. 39 actual. Again, if you want to pay it, you can. We won't sit here and argue with you on it. It's Kevin Durant. He's a good man. Let's see here. We've talked Edwards, George, Brown, Keldon at 78. Just two tall men in Cleveland. Just too big. Grant got small forward eligibility now. I kind of like that.
Interesting. Yeah.
Little change over. Scoring's down a bit. No shocking. It coincides with Dame going for 41 and 36 actual. So, when Dame's going to take 30 shots, those shots come from somebody. Last 2 games, it's come from Jeremy Grant. So at least be aware of that. A 7K Kawhi Leonard, though, I think I'm going to keep just running out there. 30 minutes in back-to-back games. He's not going to play any less than 30. So if tonight's the night he plays 32, 33, fine. He's Kawhi Leonard. So I'm gonna have some interest.
Yep, agreed. Everything you just said, and nothing to add. It's only going to go up from here.
Yep, only going up from there. Dort is 52. Any interest? Big price drop for him. I mean, he was up almost 6K for a little bit. Now he's down to 52.
Maybe tournaments. We were talking about it a little before we hopped on air. Like, why did he just play 22 minutes last game? It's just again, I've talked about this. I've talked about it ad nauseum this year. It's just like outside of Gideon SGA, you just can't trust Dagnall to play anyone.
I agree.
Minutes.
Kyle Anderson experience last 2 nights, 47 and 32 fantasy points. He's always been a guy that fills up the stat sheet. I don't know if we're ever going to get 12 assists again, but what he gave you against Portland the other night, 14, 7, 6, very repeatable for him. So
Yep.
I'm willing to pay the 52 for that for sure. As we mentioned, a lot of people will be playing Levert and Bogdan, assuming they're in. Any Denny interest? 3 straight games of 30-plus fantasy points for him.
Yeah, man, he does a little bit of everything. And 4+ assists in 3 straight, 5+ rebounds in 4 straight. He's double figures in 3 straight. Like, he does do a little bit of everything as long as there's guys out, as long as Beal and Monty Morris are out. Look, his assists are going up as Beal and Monty Morris are not on the floor. I don't think that's a coincidence at all. So, I can definitely get to Denny. I think he's a very solid player.
Give me your thoughts on Romeo Langford. 28 and 29 minutes the last 2 nights. 29 and 30 fantasy points for him. Lottery pick, former lottery pick of the Boston Celtics. Kind of never really got an opportunity to play on a team that was making some deep playoff runs. Now he's on a team that is looking for their next core. Any interest in Romeo Langford here?
I mean, maybe if he starts again, like he started over Devin Vassell last game, but can we trust that to continue? I don't know.
During his limited time with the Celtics, he was an energy guy. He would come on the floor, he would just fly around. He was like a giraffe on ice skates out there. Like his body was just everywhere, right? Like flipping over things. He's selling out for blocks and steals. He's grabbing rebounds. He was just always considered a very raw shooter. So, it kind of like Neesmith that we're seeing with the Pacers right now. Went to Boston, gave you some highlight blocks, some rebounds. Couldn't tell if he knew how to shoot a basketball at times. So, Langford the last couple of days, being efficient around the rim, he's scoring. If he's starting, I'm with you there. But I mean, you look at the last couple of games here, 20+ fantasy points in 4 of the last 6. So, a lot easier to get to him when he's 3K and instead of 4K. But kind of throwing him out there. Anybody else for you?
No.
Okay. Powerful. Let's see. We talked about Tatum and Durant already. Butler's at 86. Would you play him?
He's a good tournament play, I think.
Yeah. A couple games over 50 last couple games.
Yeah. Just, again, you mentioned it. Like, we need scoring Butler.
Yeah.
And I think we'd probably be more comfortable saying that if Bradley Beal sits, Kyle Kuzma is going to be uber aggressive. Like he's been the last few games. Tough spot. But, I feel more confident that Kuzma takes 20 shots than Jimmy Butler.
Sure. I agree with you there. Triple J against Atlanta.
Yes. 30 minutes in 2 of his last 3. One of them were a blowout. Not much foul trouble, knocks on wood, right?
Elite blocks and steals.
And if Ja's out, I mean, there's going to be a lot of usage to go around for Jaren
He's
Jackson,
not giving us a bunch of upside, but we know the upside is there. Is kind of how I
game number 2 of his year, 25 and 12.
Yeah.
Yep. So we know it's there.
Yep. Good spot with no Collins, so I don't hate it there. Let's see. Simmons played 20 minutes, even though he had 30 fantasy points. Tough to get to that one. What other power forward? Hunter, I guess. Assuming Hunter plays more than 26 minutes there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I like that spot for him at 46. That's a good number.
Yeah. Marcus Morris, revenge narrative against the... Oh, no. Was it Marquis for those? No, Marcus Morris. Marcus Morris was a...
Yep.
And Hunter, I agree.
Hunter 46 is really nice. Let's see.
Did Batum still play a bunch of minutes? He did still play a bunch of minutes with 33 minutes off the bench, even with Kawhi and Paul George healthy.
Yeah. What was it the other day? I put in the chat the other day to play Brandon Clark. He played 24 minutes against Detroit.
I think Steven Adams is questionable.
Yeah. So Adams played in that game anyways.
He's questionable. He's questionable again.
I mean, just looking at the last 3 games, 4 to the last 3 for Brandon Clark, he's been in their rotation. Couple of them were blowouts, I guess, but the Detroit one wasn't. 24 minutes, 25 minutes. So, I don't know, tournament play, I guess. I mean, he's another guy that gets on the floor. He's been a high fantasy point per minute guy. Jaren Jackson's always a potential for foul trouble. So, But I mean, if you listened to me the other day and you played him against Detroit, you got a 3,930 fantasy point effort out of him. So
sure, definitely a solid tournament play. I mean, 30 fantasy points in 3 of his last 4 is really good.
Yeah, for a guy that's at that cost. I got nothing else though.
So I saw that the Thunder put Darius Bazley in their rotation again, 26 minutes. Just throwing that out there. I don't know if it's worth anything.
If you think that's what's gonna happen, I guess we can.
I'm just kidding, dude. I spend all this every podcast with Thunder on just bashing the Thunder. I'm not.
I know. I mean, Jalen Williams is there. Poku played 34 minutes. I mean,
yeah,
dude, 34 minutes for Poku, 49 fantasy points. Like,
yeah, he's playing 10 minutes.
I mean, he played 21 the game before. You just have no idea. No idea. All right, center here. Zinger's your top price center today against Brooklyn at $9,500. 61 fantasy points against the Clippers. I mean, the dude is really having one of his best stretches. He's always been a very good player. We just got to remember that he's just a very good player. But again, kind of a tough spot, I think, for me to want to get there. Bam was on one for a bit. Unfortunately, let me down against San Antonio. I don't know how you feel about him going up against Miles Turner. He had 18 and 10 in this matchup earlier this season.
It's a good spot. Obviously, things for Bam get harder when Jimmy Butler's there, at least statistically, because Jimmy Butler is so good everywhere. So it's a pass for me. It's a pass for me.
See, Gobert's at 72, had a decent game against us in the same spot the other night.
Dude, he's been good. He's been really good. The last 3 games, I mean, the scoring's just been there. Yeah. And we know about the acumen everywhere else. He's not even blocking shots this year.
Yeah, I know.
You know, so when do we get the 5 block game that we've grown accustomed to? So that's brewing. I'm definitely in on Gobert 7,200. Listen, you said it 3 slates ago, or 2 slates ago. Whenever our last podcast was
6,800. I was like, he's too cheap,
and he's still too cheap. This is an 8K plus player that's just been underperforming, but now is playing his best basketball when there's no Karl-Anthony Towns next to him. So
yep.
I'm getting to Gobert for sure tonight.
Allen at 7K against San Antonio. I said it during the other night for Bam. He just let us down missing shots, but at the time of Saturday, San Antonio was allowing the most points per game to the center position in terms of actual points, not fantasy points. They're still a bottom 6 team against centers and fantasy points as well. So if Donovan Mitchell's out again, not that Jared Allen's a big time volume scorer, I do like Allen here. 13 free throw attempts, 9 shot attempts. I mean, they're definitely giving him some opportunities. And San Antonio's a tough spot. I don't know about Mobley at 77 though. I mean, more shot attempts, but price is obviously $700 more expensive.
Yeah, I'm definitely more interested in Allen, but if you want to get to Mobley because if Donovan Mitchell sits, I can understand it, right? Because 21 and 16 actual points last 2
years. Yeah. Zach Collins in a tough spot here, but 31, 30.
He's already in foul trouble. Yeah, he's already in foul trouble.
Dude, 6'5", 6'5". More of a reason why we probably should like Allen and Mobley a little bit, because Collins will be hacking in this game. So let me ask.
You're gonna say it.
You know where I'm going. You know where I'm going. We got a little return, revenge, you name it, we got it here. Blake Griffin against the Clippers here. He's going to start with no Al Horford. He only played 20 minutes against Golden State. I don't know if that had to do with the blowout. Probably did. He played 22 minutes against Phoenix. That one definitely had to do with the blowout because they were up 40 going into the fourth.
Same thing with Charlotte. It's just so we don't know what the sample is.
But in the competitive game against Toronto, we got 32 minutes out of him. Even in the 22 and 20 minutes against Phoenix and Golden State, though, 25 and 23 fantasy points. So I ask you, Blake Griffin at $4,000, can you get there tonight against the Clippers?
I don't know.
Look at the 7, 9, and 8 rebounds, almost double-digit points in 4 straight games.
I know the usage rate's so low. The shot attempts are so low. He needs to be.
He's dunking again. Did you see that? They did a whole thing on him dunking the basketball.
Shout out to Blake Griffin for dunking.
Yeah.
I mean, the rebounds have been good. The points have been good. He's just making all the shots, which obviously helps. His 3 for 6 is we're shooting. He makes 3 threes, right? That's.
But that's what the Celtics do. The Celtics hit threes. So.
I know. You can. I mean, he's the only
If this is a close game, he's gonna play 30 minutes.
Theoretically, yeah, he should.
The one
There's no
sample size where
other.
it was close, that's what he did. So
Do they go?
they're not going to
I'm
play
just like,
Cornet. They're not going to go
yeah,
small. They're not going to go too small. Like they don't really play Grant at the 5 this year. So like,
yeah, they could. They could. I
Blake's in
mean,
the spot.
the only scenario I see it happening is if the Clippers match and they just go like Batum at the center or something. They go like super small or Covington at the center spot, and then that allows Boston to go Grant. So it's possible. Look, he's 4K. He's not expensive. We need 20 for 5X. He's given us that and more lately when he plays. So I don't hate it. I would throw Charles Bassey out there. I was just about to
say Charles Bassey, given all the fouls that we're getting out of Zach Collins, right? So still a tough spot. Bassey also a big foul guy. So plays
big foul guy.
Has 3 and 4 fouls.
Yeah.
All right, build our lineups. Where are we going as our top guy? We going Dame here at 10-2?
I think it's Dame time.
Okay.
I think it's Dame time.
All right. So we got Dame at point guard. Let's see here. We're gonna go Bogdan, assuming he plays, right?
Yep. There's nothing suggesting he's not right now. So we got some injury updates. Let's see what we got. Davis Bertans. Yeah. That's it.
Kawhi at 7K.
Yeah, I think that's a great price. I think it's a great price.
Jared Allen at 7K.
I mean, the Spurs are just so bad. There's no one really below him either. So
I mean, it was Zach Collins. It was
Blake.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah, that's fine.
That's a good one. Yeah, okay, that's fine. Let's see here. Jared Allen 7K, 5,200 for power forward, guard forward, and utility. We wanted Goodwin, right?
We could go Goodwin, yeah.
Goodwin
Brandon Clark 40. Brandon Clark 42.
Yeah, you like the Clark play?
Yeah, I do.
Okay,
I'm with you on the Brandon Clark play.
Clark at power forward at 42. All right, so we have a forward and utility at 6,100 per. Let's see. Was there another under 5K guy? I mean, Levert was 5K.
We just can't play Levert if we just don't know the Mitchell.
Like Hunter at 46, right?
Yeah, that works.
You fine playing Hunter and Bogdan together?
Yeah, I mean they're missing Collins and DeJounte, so like
they're gonna play minutes no matter what. So Hunter forward. That gives us a $7,600 utility. D'Angelo Russell on the other side of Lillard.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Giddy at 73.
I feel like Russell's spot is better. Better game environment. Don't have to face off Dallas.
Okay.
It's hard or Gobert 72.
Triple J at 71.
I would rank the Minnesota guys probably first.
Okay.
Either one, I don't care. I think Gobert has showed a higher ceiling, but Russell's been. I mean, we know Russell's usage rate just through.
Yeah. I'll go the guard play. I'll go the guard play here. So here we go. Lillard, Bogdan, Kawhi, Clark, Allen, Goodwin, Hunter, and Russell's our lineup here. We have Dylan Clemens at the on the playbook here today. We'll be in the Discord if you have any questions. Get us on Twitter as well. And James and I will catch you guys later.